Welcome, everyone. I am Dr. Dream, guerrilla podcasting from the base of the Sierra Mountains in California. You can see them in the drone photo behind me before the drone police showed up and told me I'm not allowed to take drone photos. Um, but super happy to be here. We have been soaking. If you're wondering why I seem so very relaxed, that's it. And it's just been really nice, kind of just amazing vacation. And it just goes along with today's topic also, which is super exciting. I had an interesting week in addition to everything else going on. I energetically had to cut some ties and make a stand for something that I feel strongly about, standing in my truth, and didn't know how it would be taken. And by and large, everything panned out fine. Overwhelming amount of support coming to me from my EE system community and everyone there, and so we just move on. We do what we do, and life is what life is, and we learn our lessons, and we try and take the high road, and just remember that it's about love and supporting the people that you're connected to at the highest level. And I'm just going to leave it all at that. um Couple of other things. Wow, what else? Had some amazing experiences with the quantum wellness recharge. Um, just some very interesting things. Many people's trials are running up, and so we are. Many people have now gone into the paid program, which is nice. And what's nice about that, it's never been about the money for me, but what's nice about it is they wouldn't do it if they didn't know that it worked. And we're just getting like irrefutable anecdotal, I guess we call it, because it's not like real research or whatever. But when you're watching your loved one shift right before your eyes, and the only thing you've changed is signed up for this frequency program, it makes a lot of sense. And so Stephanie's been here, and we're in such tight quarters. She gets to hear all the phone calls, and it's been really, really moving and heart expanding for me to hear people call up and say, it's changed my life. I know that my trial is almost over. Please make sure I don't want to lose a day of frequencies, kind of thing. Because that's ultimately is why we got into it, is to provide this level of healing for people. And I all I've ever wanted is to provide something always to help people and to assist them. And we've done it in, you look in my life, and it's been in just all different aspects of how that has manifest. And this program is incredible. I talked to Jim Trider today, and I just have so much respect for this man making this available for everyone. That's all I'm going to say about that now. Tonight's topic. I have a lot of fun coming up with these topics. And Stephanie and I were on the phone with someone last week, and the woman said to us, I'm having a hard time finding joy. And so when I was sitting here and I said, Stephanie, I don't know what the topic should be. And she said, what about finding your joy? And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is great. So that's it. The short title is Finding Your Joy. The long title is Finding Your Joy in a World That Profits from Your Distraction. And I'm just going to read the newsletter article that I did on it, because it sets it up as well as I could hope to set it up. There's something I've been noticing lately. It's harder for people to access their joy, not because life is necessarily worse than it has ever been, not because there's no beauty left in the world, but because we're swimming in distraction, drama, and division. And most people do not even realize how much it is affecting them. We're living in a time where your attention is currency. Outrage spreads faster than peace. Drama gets amplified. Division gets rewarded. The more activated you are, the longer you stay engaged. The longer you stay engaged, the more valuable you are to the system. But here is the real cost. When your nervous system is constantly stimulated, it becomes harder to feel subtle things. The joy, and joy is subtle. Joy does not scream. Joy does not compete. Joy does not interrupt your scrolling. Joy whispers. The overstimulated nervous system, many people today are not deeply unhappy. They are overstimulated and undernourished. They are informed about everything and connected to nothing. They're reacting all day long and rarely experiencing. When the nervous system lives in low grade fight or flight, it is scanning for threat, comparison, urgency, and validation. It's not scanning for wonder. It's not scanning for gratitude. It's not scanning for joy. So joy begins to feel distant, not because it left you, but because your system is braced. And when you're braced, you cannot receive. Do you even know what your joy is? And here's the deeper question. If I asked you right now what truly brings you joy, could you answer clearly? Not what looks good, not what impresses others, not what produces income, but what genuinely lights you up. For many people, there is a long pause, but somewhere along the way, joy got replaced with productivity or responsibility or survival or proving something. And even when people know what brings them joy, they often do not give themselves permission to experience it. There is guilt. How can I feel joy when the world is struggling? How can I relax when there's so much to do? How can I enjoy myself when others are suffering? But here is something important. Joy, it's not selfish. Joy regulates your nervous system. Joy increases creativity. Joy strengthens resilience. Joy improves your immune function. Joy makes you more present in your relationships. So, really, joy is stabilizing. You're not helping the world by staying constricted, contracted. In fact, one of the most powerful contributions you can make right now is coherence. And joy is a doorway to coherence. Joy as a frequency. Think about that. You've heard me say many times that life is a frequency game and you're the instrument. Well, joy is a tuning state. When you are in joy, your body softens, your breath deepens, your perception widens. Solutions become visible. Compassion becomes natural. Joy does not mean ignoring reality. Joy means choosing alignment within reality. And that is very different. Joy might not look dramatic. It might be morning light through your window, a quiet walk without your phone, the sound of healing bowls resonating in your being. Maybe it's cooking slowly, laughing with someone you love, being in service, finishing something you started, sitting in silence and actually feeling your own presence. Joy is often that simple, and simple does not trend. Instead of asking how to completely transform your life, ask a gentler question. What would 5% more joy look like for you this week? Not a life overhaul, just 5%. One activity, one boundary, one amount of presence, one decision to turn off the noise, one conscious breath before reacting. Joy is not something you have to chase. It is something you allow. You do not have to wait for the world to calm down before you give yourself permission to feel good. You're allowed to experience joy now, and perhaps in a world that constantly pulls at your attention, choosing joy is one of the most radical acts you can make. So, you all know me well enough. I work hard. I'm dedicated to the things that mean a lot to me, but I don't let that dedication to my projects and everything else get in the way of my joy. And I'm just looking, we're in the truck camper and it's so small. I'm just looking over here at Stephanie and our dog Bliss, and it puts me right in joy. And the moments we've been boondocking here for a few nights all together between the coast of California and here in the edge of the Sierra Mountains. We will have boondocked for 11 nights, and it's a change of pace for us. um, and it's as big of a pause, I guess, as we allow ourselves to take. And Stephanie and I always hug a lot, um, and always say I love you a lot. But this last week or so, the moments of hugging, the moments of being present with each other, the moments of not having anything else outside, where you can't even listen to music when we're outside here, which is great. It means we don't have to hear anyone else's music either. Um, it's just it's been joyful, and we don't know. I mean, I think for me, the back to back strokes was a bit of a wake up call in 2020, and we don't know what time we have. Nobody, and it's not even, I mean, we've all got stories. It's not based on how old we are or anything else. Life can take us at any moment. And so, one of the things ever since that time for me has been to take each moment and to be so present in it and to be so full of gratitude and joy. So excited to hear what you all have to say about finding joy and what that looks like and means in your life, and maybe what 5% more joy would feel like in the next week. And maybe we want to all report on it next week, like, here's what I did, and that was about 5% more joy than usual, and here's how it felt, and here's how my week was different. But however you want to address it, I'd like to go ahead and, of course, start with Phil, because I'm a creature of habit.
Okay. I've been doing a little bit of a dive into a gentleman by the name of David Hawkins that it's I've been on a path for many years studying different people and I'm a slow learner apparently, but the good news for everybody is even slow learners kind of creep into understanding the farther and the more that we start to see. And so I would just finish this book, The Highest Level of Enlightenment by David Hawkins. And in the book, at the end of the book, he's just talking about some other books that might be related, and he brings up people like Louise Hay, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Joe Dispenza, Pam Grout, Wayne Dyer again, Greg Braden. We have Lester Levinson, we have Larry Crane, we have all these different people that when you really look into what they're talking about, and this is what I really remember is when Larry Crane talking about Lester Levinson and talking about how we go out and we look here, we're looking for happiness and we're looking everywhere, and it's not out there. It's in here. It's in our hearts. That's where our joy is. And when we let the ego get in the way of thinking that is what life is, that's where we have to make friends with our ego to be able to create this relationship that no, that's not what that's all about, because we as people are observers. We're not we're not the body, we're not the mind, we're not the ego. We are an observer of everything else that's happening. And when we take that personalization away from it, when we are responsible for everything, then that gets heavy on the whole deal. And that's where the ego kind of suppresses the body into this whole thing that we have to be responsible for everything. And I find my best joy when I step back and I realize that, number one, I never die. The fear of dying is tremendous on people. And once we get over the fear of dying, that's just so much better, because as David Hawkins says, we come into this life, and at that moment, our checkout time is already stamped. What we do in between is up to us, but we're not changing it. And it just is what it is. And we just have to get over this whole notion that we're responsible for everything on the planet. And we watch the news and we get depressed and da 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 da, and it's all nonsense, because it's all just stuff happening. And it's going to happen forever and ever and ever. It's never going to stop. And unless we get away from that, we're never going to find joy. We have to realize that, hey, the joy is inside of us. And when we go deep inside of ourselves and we find that peace and that joy, and then when we actually move out and share that with people, it's astounding, because that's where that we bring joy to the planet by our own inside. And so I just wanted to share that from my viewpoint right now is, man, I there are so many similarities to all the different people that I've read and I look at, and it's literally basically all the same thing. And I'd love to be able to look back and see in what progression these people came up with this stuff, because it's all very similar. Some just say it a little differently, and some resonates more with us at different times. And then sometimes we hear it again, and then we look back and we go, oh, yeah, they said that, 20 years ago when I read that book. And yeah, it's just something that is special about learning to go inside and realize where the peace and the joy is. We're not responsible for anything or everything. We can just be. So there.
Thank you, Phil. Really wonderfully put. And knowing everything that you've taken on in your life and everything that's involved in your life and everything else, it's beautiful for me to hear you share what you just shared, knowing the bigger picture and everything else. And so I'm touched.
Thank you.
Destiny, how are you doing? You ready?
I'm ready.
Go for it.
Um, yeah, so I loved how you said that it's not something that you have to chase or create, but it's something that you allow. I think it's so easy just to be caught up in judgment and fear over the past and the future. And joy is here in the present. And I find it most easily found in nature and in people and animals. Um, it can be just so simple. Like the other day, I was out tossing out bread for the chickens, and one of the roosters hopped on top of one of the chickens and was like scratching at it, and then another rooster came up and just like karate kicked the rooster off the chicken, and it's just been making me happy for days. The chicken karate kick another chicken. Um, and it's just so simple. And the seasons, like what a wonderful thing in life, constantly changing. I think it's funny that people have this thing about talking about the weather like it's not worthy of talking about because it's so fun. It's always changing and it's all affecting us in all these different ways. And I love to be aware of what's going on in nature, and it brings me true joy. And I've been noticing more and more in life that when I'm just in a situation that's making me unhappy, I just like I realize in the moment, I'm like, I'm literally choosing to just be let this situation make me unhappy. And I'm literally choosing not to allow joy. Like I have all I have to do is give myself permission just to shift my perspective right now. And boom, I could be in that spot. And most of the time I feel validated in my unhappy feelings, and so I stick there for a while, but it's been interesting to know that that's always there. I had this a really interesting moment a few years ago when I was really doing a lot of reflection about why I was lonely and or why I was lonely and um why I was not finding that my love for myself was enough in my life. And um it's kind of funny because I've always felt this innate gratitude to be who I am and to walk this world in my skin. And but I think it just became easy to lose when I was full of so much judgment about my past and about my future and how far I had to go to reach where I wanted to be and all these things. And then I just started making a few changes, and one day I just realized that I was actually super happy to be exactly where I was and to have in front of me everything that I needed to do to be where I wanted to go. And and that place, when I find myself in that place, I really feel a lot of joy because I've I'm accepting who I am and where I'm going and what it's going to take to get there. And yeah, I think that definitely I've been meaning to just spend more time walking outside lately. It was a habit for a little while, and then I started not feeling so good for a while and I got out of the habit, but morning walks are absolutely amazing and it's starting to warm up again. So I think that will be my extra 5% joy this week is reinstating that morning walks habit.
Nice. I love that. I also imagine that Joyce shows up as maybe a little bit of kicking in the belly. Okay. Um, this is fun. Really loving this. So I'm just going down the list as I have it on the side, no particular way. So Gail, are you there? You are. Look, there's Gail.
Here I am. Hi. So I have been looking at joy for 10 or 15 years, trying to figure out what brings joy or what allows me to feel joy. And at one point, I was super depressed and I couldn't figure out how to get out of it. So I made a happy list, a list of the things, and I made myself write 20 things of what, when I think about them, do they bring a smile every time I think about them? And when I first made the list, those things did bring a smile, but only when I was thinking about them. But life was so hard for me at that point. that what I did was I made like a dozen copies of it. One in my purse, one on the bathroom mirror, one, I carried one in my pocket, and I just carried them around. And anytime I was angry or sad or really struggling, I pulled a list out. It was completely and totally artificial. And it became a habit, and I had to force myself to do it. It wasn't fun to do oh God, I got to get this list out. Except that when I allowed myself to actually look at the list and say those words out loud, I started to smile and my mood started to lift. It took 6 to 8 months to get me out of a very extreme depression, where everybody else was telling me, go get drugs. And I'm like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. And still, these days, when I'm struggling and I remember, I mentally pull out my happy list. So what's on it? Hummingbirds, kittens, puppies, butterflies, bachelor buttons, carnations, sweet William, puffy clouds, blue sky, green new leaves, and on and on. And every one of them was something simple. Um, and I would love to be able to say that I had my kids on there. I didn't, because at that point I was struggling so much with my own internal gunk that I had no bandwidth for anyone but me. So I wasn't abusive. I wasn't particularly neglectful, but I wasn't the soft, sweet woman that you all mostly know. Um, and but I had to actually put forth effort to find those things, and they still work. But there is, for me, joy. Joy has an exquisite pain to it. It's one of those bittersweet things. It's there's been so much kind of struggle that I brought on myself, um, contrasting with the kittens and the puppy dogs and um, uh, the butterflies, and it's been very much a here's this exquisite, beautiful, amazing thing that makes my heart expand, contrasted with these things that were hard and painful. And that contrast makes the exquisite even more potent. But sometimes, they said the Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes that day. That had to hurt. Nobody thinks about, oh yeah, no, it's just a loving, oh my gosh, it was wonderful. If you look, he's got all this binding around his heart, and then all that stuff breaks and his heart grows. Well, that's what happened to me, is that as those bindings, as my heart expanded and my love expanded and my joy expanded, those bindings, they didn't want to let go. And so letting go of them was, sometimes, I cried a lot. I could cry at a pretty cloud. They weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of exquisite, painful joy. I don't cry as often now. So I think that those bindings are now mostly done. Not completely. I still sometimes, but mostly. And so how do I find my joy? I breathe. I breathe deep and slow. I listen to exquisite music. I take time outside. I sail. I get the wind in my hair and my face. If I had somebody else that would drive and I could stick my head out the window, I would be a Labrador. And it's those things. They're not, none of them are big. They're all small, in the moment. And if you're not paying attention, you miss them. And I usually get mad at myself when I miss something like that. So I'm getting better and better about paying attention. I think that's it.
Thank you, Gail. I appreciate the share, and I loved how you finished it right there about paying attention and everything. That just hit home very big. Sylvie, would you like to go, dear?
Yeah. Wow. Um, I was listening as you started Dr. Dream, and it was like this disconnected. And I think we are born with a natural state of joy. Like when we are children, we don't think about all that's sad or this. We don't have all these concepts. And so what I feel when I hear disconnected, then, and I think about my own life, then I feel a really huge imprint doing as I was going to school and felt disconnected. And it took me a while to unpeel myself, because for me, school was not fun at all. And so, and I even felt disconnected. And the more I connected to the nature, the more I could find back joy that was even as a child happened when I went playing outside in nature. And it's something where I think I have in between, I had a couple of years where I've forgotten what is joy. And where I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm way too serious, I'm not laughing, or something like this. But there was every time these little moments in between, even when I think about I was too serious, because I never stopped to hug people. And for me, this is something what gives me a lot of joy, just hugging people and hold them and heart to heart and really see after in their faces and that they received even something beautiful, what give me a lot of joy. And I started at one point, as I go once in a week to the market, to write little messages on little sheets of paper, and like messages, you are awesome, you are on the right place, you are here where you're supposed to be, and you are the light, keep on shining. And then I just fold them and I go to the people and I say, today, receive your message. And it brings a lot of joy, not only to me. It's like I can see how they light up, and that's so beautiful. And for me, this is joy. I can have this for myself, but joy experience in a group with others is like a firework. It's like the energies rise up, and so for me, joy it's in this way really special. And I had even this thinking where I was listening even to Destiny, to you, Phil, and you, Gail, that when we grow up and we supposed to play this many rules in life, what society sees in us or what we need to fulfill or want to fulfill, that the more I'm authentic, the more I experience myself in a joyful being, because I don't need to or took off this thought that I need to fit in, that I need to please anyone. And it makes life so much easier and so much lighter. And with this, I feel there comes a lot of joy too. And it's like something what we've been given since we are on earth, but we have forgotten in between. And yeah, every time joy for me is even really connected to my inner child. Absolutely. When I go, for example, sometimes I go boogie boarding, and it's like then to lay down, get the right wave, and then to lay down and really have this cry like what you did as a little child, and you never were like taken care if someone hear this or stuff like this. You never had these concepts. You just be in this joy. And that's what I experience when I'm boogie boarding. So even sport can help to find a lot of joy and even free the mind, what I really love a lot. Yeah. And to be creative, to paint, to listen to music, to make music, to sing, to dance. We have so many tools to experience joy. It's for everyone different, but for me, it's like this moment when I free my mind. And I can find this in singing, I can find this in dancing, I can find this in a painting, or do something creative out of, I don't know, driftwood or whatever. Yeah. And that's where my inner child is dancing with me. Perfect.
That was awesome. When you were the whole inner child aspect, my inner child got so joyful, and boogie boarding is one of my favorite things, and I don't do it enough. And I was just like, my inner child was like, "Yay!" Thank you. And you have such a sweet and gentle energy, and then your background really accentuates it. And after the experience that you and I had in the last week or so, and I'll talk about that at the very end, I feel like I know you better than I've known you before. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate you. Thank you. All right. Stephanie, where is she? Oh my gosh, she's right there.
Hey everybody. Wow, Sylvie, that was so beautiful. It's gonna be very hard to follow that, honestly. I just want to say that like when you were talking about all the things that brought you joy, you just had like the biggest smile on your face as you were talking and you were radiating. It was just so beautiful to witness and to listen to. So thank you for that. Uh, Destiny is my joy. We nicknamed each other years ago, Love and Joy, because I am infinite love and she is infinite joy. So she's like the most joyful person I've ever known. I bought this pin. I don't know if you guys can see it here. It says joy. I bought it for Destiny, but it's for me, but in her honor. So Destiny, thank you for always being my joy. I do find joy in so many more places. Um, it's weird to talk with noise canceling headphones on. Uh, I feel like we've all kind of like described it perfectly. Like we find joy when we live, like when we find ourselves in the present moment and we live and we allow ourselves to live. Um, I find a lot of joy in kissing my dog's face. She does not love it, but she lets me do it, and it makes me happy. And I do that, probably 100 times a day. Uh, I find joy in just all the little moments. Last night we were sitting here and we're like, all right, what do you want to do? And Dr. Dream listed off some things, and he's like, do you want to slow dance in the kitchen? And I was like, yes, I do. We were listening to some handpan healing frequency music, and we just slow danced in the kitchen. And it brought me so much joy, like, yes, let's slow dance in the kitchen. Like, yes. Uh, yeah, all the hugs, all the love, all the cuddles. Um, like the connections that I have with my people really bring me the most joy. And then nature, like brings me joy just to bury my feet in the dirt, and depending on like the temperature outside, or I don't know, I guess my mood, just to lay down on the earth, just completely like just like lay down on her, and like just have your whole body just held by the planet. Nothing be well, I haven't done it naked, but like, nothing but like my clothes between me and the earth. Feels really good. Jumping to like a cold, crystal clear lake on a hot day. Like that's just wonderful. Um, I feel like gratitude is kind of like the starting point of joy, and like gratitude's kind of my thing, is like to be grateful for the basics in life. I've never really experienced what it is to go hungry or cold. Like, yeah, I've been cold for, a short amount of time, or I've been hungry for like an hour. But I've been really fortunate, and I've always had those basic needs like covered. And then I've had this idea like my whole life that everything on top of that is a bonus. I'm not hungry, I'm not cold. Like everything is a bonus, and there's so much more on top of that, and that it just brings me a lot of joy, like all of it. Um, I find a lot of joy in eating slowly, and anyone who's shared a meal with me will tell you I eat very slowly. I have met one person my whole life that eats slower than me, and they eat so slow. It was crazy. But I am the slowest eater normally. And I find great joy in like nourishing my body, yeah, it really is the little things, and it's slowing down enough to notice and acknowledge them. I really do feel like having a dog is a great thing, because a dog doesn't care about a TV show. A dog doesn't care about your phone. Like a dog doesn't care about a story that happened in the past or that's going to happen in the future. Like the dog is present, and that's all she cares about, is like right here, right now. Like, hey, like what's up? And she helps keep me just kind of like more present and less distracted. Um, my nieces and nephews also bring me a lot of joy. Destiny's got two great boys, and anytime I hang out with them, it's just so fun, and they're so awesome. My brother has like a whole like baseball team or basketball team of kids, basketball, yeah, of kids, and like it's just great to hang out with them. One of them is old enough now that he won't always give me hugs, and he'll always hug Dr. Dream to kind of like rub it into me that he won't give me hugs all the time, which I don't love. But all the other kids are still like, "Yay, hugs for Auntie!" And I love those hugs. And like I've got two nieces coming up this year. Destiny and Michaela are both having girls, I'm pretty sure. And I'm really looking forward to holding those babies. Like just the thought of it brings me joy, and I know that when I'm holding those little babies, it's going to bring me a lot of joy. And it's cool to be at the age now that I am, where I can have just so much appreciation for everything in life, like it's really beautiful. It's, family, planet, balance. So yeah, that's me. Love you guys.
That was awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. All of that. I love that. You're so joyful. All right. Susie, you there on your new computer?
On my new computer. I haven't even set up my mail yet, but I managed to find my calendar and I have this link. So, um, wow, I just loved what everybody said and it is about the little things. And there was a point in my life that I didn't know how to connect to that, even though I knew that they were little things. I didn't know what it was that I just didn't, I didn't I didn't think that making a choice, it just seemed kind of hollow, but I don't know, everything has shifted. Um and now everything, it's like you should see my apple tree out there. I have so much stuff hanging on my apple tree, and like I put four new bird houses out there and shiny things, and it doesn't produce apples anymore, just some leaves, and but it's so pretty. And then Stephanie, she got me started on a project that has been near to my heart for 14 years that I've lived here, and I haven't done anything about it. And now I'm like gangbusters into transforming this shed that I have down on the property. It's a lot of work. And so, but it's great. And going down there, it's like, boy, and of course, inevitably I forget things. And so then I got to come back up to the house. And so I'm getting lots of cardio, lots of steps, and getting lots of things done. Um, but I've changed my habit of my morning routine, and it's like I don't reach for the phone first thing anymore. Um, the cat needs to be fed, and so I have this routine where I get in my PEMF mat and he comes and lays on me. He likes it too. And I'll do that for 25 minutes. Then I feed him, and then I will just sit. No music, no phone. And I'll just sit for another 20 minutes, half an hour, just breathing and being in gratitude for, um, having another day to find ways to, um, it's like I feel like right now my focus is, it's like anytime anybody has a birthday, I send them this little I these on iPhone, you've got these little memes that they animate, and it's your voice. And so I love sending those out, happy birthday wishes. And I sent one out I don't know if you got the one that I sent you today, Dr. Dream, but I sent him one. And because I was happy about my new computer. I think I used the face of an animated cat. Anyway, so that brings me joy. And um, my girlfriend gave me a plant. I don't have house plants. The ones outside, it's like they I will tend them, but it's like they're subject to the elements and the deer eating them and whatever. And it's like there's a circle of life going on out there. But having an indoor plant this is my first house plant that I ever had. And so I felt responsible for this plant. It's like my cat is one thing, but this plant really had me going there for quite a while. So I took it out of this little pot that it was in, and they had these rocks glued all around the base of it. It was a bamboo plant, and it was wrapped in plastic, and it was sitting in this other skanky water. And it was like, oh my God, and I put it in this other pot, a bigger pot, and I fed it. And my girlfriend came over. She gave it to me 3 months ago, and it grew. It's like twice as big as the one that she's had for 3 years. And in 3 months, this thing is like happy. the leaves are green and they're just reaching out there, and I talk to it every morning, and we have this relationship now, and I'm so happy because it's responding to me. And of course I got my cube over here, and I'm pretty sure that the cube is giving it lots of photonic action that it it needed too. But yeah, I talked to it's right by my sink. I'm looking out my window through the leaves of the little bamboo plant, and I love that plant now. But we had a rocky beginning. I will admit that. Um, I didn't want it. I told her, I said, don't ever do that again. Don't ever bring me another house plant. I just, I blamed it on my cat. I says, no, I can't have house plants. My cat will, get into it, and I don't want that. Um, but that wasn't it at all. It was me. It was me not wanting to be responsible for a plant. But now I have a plant, and it's very happy, and I'm happy that it's happy. Um, and the weather's getting warmer, and I'm going to be, going out and taking walks, and I really like doing that. Um, I really like not reaching for my phone first thing. There was, there's an addictive nervous system quality to that whole thing. And so um, now I just don't do it. And I feel calmer. I'm breathing. I'm focusing more on my breath in the morning. I went to the doctor, and that usually um, makes me nervous because they used to have to send my stuff to Maryland. And if I had high blood pressure, they would beach me and I wouldn't be able to work. And so I always sort of got a little nervous when I went to the doctor. Now I'm a little nervous because I got carrying some extra weight, and now they want to put me on blood pressure medicine, and I don't want to. So that has made me nervous. And I went to the doctor, and I sat there, and I put some nice music on, and I'm breathing and I'm listening to this music, and it's just heaven in my head. And then I went in there, and normally my blood pressure was like 145 over 80, and it was like 120 over 80, and that was a big um huge dip. And I know it was because I was really focused on really letting go those places in my body that kind of holds automatically. You don't even realize it. It's like it becomes normal that your body just tightens in certain areas, pelvic floor, shoulders, jaw. And so really focusing and letting go of those muscles that are just bracing, because it's been like automatic for so long. And now that I'm paying attention, I realize that, oh, right, okay. And in that second, it's like you realize, wow, I didn't realize that I was holding. Um, it's amazing how we just carry the things that we carry, and it becomes normal, until it's not, until you notice it, and you change the way you look at it. You change your perspective. You breathe into it. You breathe into letting go of it all, and things are, and so I really feel like um, I'm changing and growing in ways that are breaking habits that I've developed a lot of habits over these years, and I'm breaking some habits, and it feels really good, and I feel strong. And um I like being active. I like feeling good about being active. I don't always feel good. And if I'm not feeling good, I can't, it's like I'm not going to force myself to do anything. But I'm starting to feel pretty good, starting to feel my oats again. And it feels good. And and so it's like, once in motion, you stay in motion. And so that's kind of like what's happening right now. And I think spring has a lot to do with it. It was 60 degrees out there today, and the sun was shining, and that makes a big difference. So yeah, it's the little things. I'm grateful to still be here on the planet. I haven't been writing lately, but that's okay. I go in and out of that. It's right now there's a lot to do outside when the weather is sunning. And so I'll come back to it, um, when it's there for me to be with it. So happy birthday, everybody.
Cute, Susie. Who knew you were such a nurturer? I'm looking forward to, like, I had this vision of you taking your plant in the car and taking it for a walk and with the music like from the Odd Couple in the background or something. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this could be an internet phenomenon. All kidding aside, I find a lot of joy in our daily phone calls. And so let's keep doing that. I'm really happy you're here. All right. So our last person, and certainly not least, never is, and so grateful that she's here with us tonight, is Victoria Freeman. Victoria?
Yeah. Did I did I do what I need to do? Okay. Um, I joined this call tonight for a lot of reasons. Dr. Dream knows what's been happening in my life, and it's been so good for me to sit and listen to all of you, and so much wisdom, um, so varied perspectives and on joy and what it is and what it feels like and how you find it and all of those things. This has been joyful for me to just be here and to hear all of you and to just sense what you're feeling. And it's been pretty cool. I've had the last few months, actually the last 5 years, I have cared for my mother who has Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And she's late stage in both now. And so it's been harder, progressively harder to find for me to find joy in my daily life because of my responsibilities with her. And and we are now EE system owners. My husband and I are center owners, and there's been a lot of people that have some very heavy, significant needs that have come to our center. And of course, we want to be there and available for them. And so, and we care very deeply, or we wouldn't have the center. I mean, that's why we're doing it, because we care. So you get involved, at least I do, get involved in what's going on with them. So it's been a combination of my mother and all the stuff that's going on with her, and then the center and our growing membership, which is awesome. But everything that's going on with them, it's been a lot and it's been kind of heavy. And I've been looking for ways to balance those two things and still have space in my life for happiness and joy. And I have to say, these frequencies that Dr. Dreams got have sure made a difference. Um, they're just awesome, folks. I mean, you got to do it. You just got to do it. It's I think hearing all of you experiencing these frequencies. Yesterday, we took a new custom-made wheelchair to my mom in the nursing home, and she's had a wheelchair. I mean, she's completely wheelchair bound, and she's had a wheelchair that was just given to her by the facility, and it didn't fit. It doesn't fit her body. It needs a lot of work. The foot pedals don't work. The hand rails or the hand rests are not the right height for her. So we had a custom made wheelchair done for her and took it to her yesterday. And she, after having a terrible day on Saturday because she didn't have the frequencies, and Dr. Dream and I didn't even realize she didn't have the frequencies for various reasons. But she had them yesterday, and she was just so happy. She was so she was back to being the way she had been earlier in the week when she did have the frequencies. And that was so joyful to me. And yesterday when I was with her, and it dawned on me that I think I haven't allowed the joy. I think it's probably been there. There's been opportunities for me to experience it, and I haven't. Um, and I think I was confused about the difference between happiness and joy. There is a big difference. I'm learning fast and furious in this past week. Um, there is a huge difference between happiness and joy. I think happiness for me is more situational. It's more dependent on what's going on at the moment in my life or with other people that I care about or with our business or whatever. It's attached to something more. Joy is free. It's freedom. It's not dependent on anything or anyone. And I mean, to some extent, seeing my mom happy with her new wheelchair, she was so excited. I mean, like the wheels light up. They like have all these different colors, and I mean, we went all out. I mean, if you're going to do it, go big or go home. So, the only thing we didn't do is put flames on the sides. We probably should have done that, but if I had it to do over again, I'd put flames on the sides. But I mean, the the wheels light up and everything adjusts, and she was thrilled with it. But you know, so to some extent, maybe the joy was attached to her because she was so happy. But at the same time, I was thinking, she can be this happy about a wheelchair that she's going to spend the rest of her life in, however long that is. And I mean, if she can do that in the condition that she's in, mentally, physically, what am I doing? Why am I so constricted and restricted and dependent on situations to have that joy? I mean, I need to not do that. I need to not do that. I need to just be in the moment with her, with our members that, I mean, they come in with these heavy burdens, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual burdens, and they experience relief with the EE system and they're joyful, you know, in the moment. I mean, whether their feelings from the EE system are permanent or they're transient or they last for a little while and then they have to come back and do another session and then they get back to where they were and move forward from there. um, they can find joy amidst all the other stuff that they have going on. So if they can do that, if my mom can do that, if my dogs and cats can do that, I mean, they've got, I mean, tomorrow was the anniversary of the passing of the canine love of my life. And she's been gone for 3 years now. And I was thinking back on her too, and thinking about how the last week of her life, I mean, we knew that it was close. We didn't know when exactly, but we knew it was close. And she was she was an exquisite soul. She was amazing. But the last week she was so ill, and we brought all of her favorite foods. I mean, we'd been trying to get her to eat and she wouldn't eat. We brought all of her favorite foods, and there were moments in that week that she was so joyful. Just the last few days of her life, she was so joyful at having those favorite foods. And I thought about her. Her name was Betty. And I thought about Betty a lot today too. And I thought, she did it. My mom does it. The members do it. Come on, Vicky. you know, just just do it. Just um just allow it. Just let it go. Just let the stuff, attachments to all the other stuff go, and just do it. So I don't know if it's your frequencies, Dr. Dream, that's getting through to me, or maybe it is. And if it is, then hallelujah. So anyway, thank you all for being a safe place for me to share. And I really appreciate all of you. I don't know you very well, but I really appreciate being here and having this opportunity.
Wow. Thank you, Victoria. Just brings a tear to my eye, and the story about Betty, and such beautiful reminders in what you shared, and the story with your mother, and how these frequencies have made a difference has really stuck with me in the last week or so, and it's meant a lot, because it's one of many stories, but it's one that I felt very deeply. And so I really appreciate you being here tonight and sharing with us also. All of you had such beautiful perspectives on joy, and just nuggets. I don't always go back and listen to these. This one I'm going to, because there's so much here. It's just so important, and life gets so distracting, and everything that I said in the beginning, and just to take those moments and to slow dance in the kitchen, or to look in the eyes of our animals or our partners, or to look at the mountains behind me, that picture that I took today, and I'm just like, wow, this is what it's about, and I made a comment about on a post today, and I said these are the never to be forgotten memories, and that's what we have in each moment when we're present, and we're not allowing ourselves to be distracted, or whatever it is. And I just can't imagine anything more valuable than that. And that's one of the things that I've learned. Okay, little shifting gears, but not a big one. You all know I have this project called In the Face of Adversity. And it was a dream of mine for over 10 years to create a website and a video storytelling of people sharing what their major adversity was, and then spending more time on how they got through it, and the faith and the belief and the resilience and everything. And I've done 2 episodes, and it's really beautiful that I've done two episodes. Susie was the first one, and Sylvie was the second one. And if you haven't watched them, they are available at inthefaceofadversity.com. they will connect you more deeply with two of our people that never miss being here in the circle and always share so much. Um, and and we all have our stories. I need more people to step up, and my goal is um, that someone who is in the midst of their adversity will find this website and will listen to our stories, and it will help them through it, their own challenge. And that's what we have for people. And Susie's story, beautiful. Sylvie's story, beautiful. Stephanie has a story she's going to record with me soon about her time going through the strokes with me, and how challenging that was and what she had to call on. And I think Phil was going to step up and share a story. But please, if it's not you, you know someone that's just gone through the ringer and they came out the other side, and you've been impressed with them and you've been inspired by them. Ask them if they would like to share their story with us. uh, it's a conversation. The videos are about 30 minutes, 34 minutes. They can be as long as someone wants, but they've so far been super inspiring. We've all gone through so much, and look at us. Here we are right now. I mean, we're survivors, and we have something to share, and it's, if it can help someone else. And then I think, as Susie pointed out, like actually sitting down and focusing on what the story is and then sharing it gave her some additional insights. And so I just feel like it's healing on so many levels. And it's just another passion project of mine, never set up to bring anything other than help and healing to people. And so I just put it out there for you. It's really, really important for me. And so if you know someone or you are that person and you want to do this, let me know and we'll accommodate your schedule. Um, I'm trying to learn why some people are getting incredible healing from the frequencies and some aren't. And I called Jim today and asked him about it. My dear friend Athena Masters, who's in this group sometimes when she feels well enough, um, it's been challenging for me, and I really relate to you, Victoria, when you're talking about running a center and the people coming in, and the stories are big and it's a heavy energy. I've been working with 60 some people on the frequencies, and it's a lot of stories and a lot of challenges, but I'm particularly close to Athena. Um, and Jim suggested we take a different tact with the frequencies, and he taught me some new things today. And I'm just, I want it to work for everybody, because there are the stories, like Victoria's mother, that it is such a striking story. And then her frequency stopped on a day and I was busy and I didn't realize they stopped. And that day she dipped, and then we started the frequencies again. And it appears that she then, came back. And that's like, I apologized to Victoria and she said, no, this is good because look what it's shown us, like this is really working, because it's like, come on, I'm sitting in the Sierra Mountains with a computer running a program, on someone in Kansas. Like it's all a little bit blows the top of my head off, and I don't need to explain stuff. There's so much in life I couldn't even get near explaining. But it's those stories. It's all I've ever wanted to do is to help people heal and to make that available. And so to have found something that has such potential is really special. And so Quantum Wellness Recharge, we give anyone free trial, whatever it is. I put people in there for 14 days for, I've got some people in there that I know will never be able to pay, and that's fine. I just, it's satisfying something in me that's been a deep aspect of what my life has been about forever. So someone already said it. I think it was Victoria, finding joy in everyone's stories tonight, and in us being here, and in us having a place to be, to go, to be, to share, to not be judged, to have space held for us, to know that we've got this. And we're a solid small group of people. But what I love is that we have this space and we're all touching people outside of this. And if it makes us stronger and more connected to do what we're all doing out in the world, we've got a great thing going. I'm excited for every Monday night to be here, and I get so much out of it. And so I end the call the way I always do, letting each and every one of you know I love you very, very, very much. And my life is better because you're in it. And that says it all. Thanks for bringing joy to me and my experience, and to my Monday that then stretches 7 days until the next Monday. You mean everything to me. Thank you, and have a really wonderful evening. And we'll get this posted soon so other people can share in all of our joy. Love you all very much. Good night.
Good night.
I
Love you all too.